Prepare to be captivated by the business story of the week, hosted by me, Shaheen Shan. Join us on a journey through the twists and turns of entrepreneurial triumphs and setbacks. Immerse yourself in the narrative and witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. This is Business Story of the Week.
And welcome back, folks, to Business Story of the Week. I am your co-host, Joshua, and today, like every day, we get into the nitty-gritty of success, perseverance, struggle, innovation, and, we bring the brightest minds and the brightest leaders to innovate to inspire you and motivate you in your journey. And today we have quite the titan in the industry. Todd Michem is a strategist in AI and human engagement, whose initiatives have led to exponential company growth and a significant impact on leadership and communication skills development. I'm very, very curious about that aspect. With over $500 million secured in contracts and 1,600% growth achieved within a year, Todd Michem's expertise in blending technological innovation with human dynamics is unquestionable, ladies and gentlemen. Marked by over 2,500 presentations across 10 countries, Todd influences the future of workplace integration of AI, driving conversations on enhancing human potential in an increasingly automated world. As one of the most influential speakers of our time today, Todd is here to talk about AI, humanity, and the future. But before we get into that, we will meet the man himself. Todd, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Wow, that sounded great as you said it. I felt good about it. So thank you. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Well, I'm doing my best to give justice to Todd and what you've done in the industry today, or what you have done ever since. And we will get into that today for our audiences and listeners. But before we do that, like I always love starting it this way. What is the story of Todd Michem? Where did it all begin? Anything
question.
happened? Anything happened in your childhood, perhaps? Anything happened throughout your journey? But what led you to AI, human engagement, human communication? Of course, we watched your TED Talk. I watched your TED Talks. But tell us about it here today.
Yeah, so I started out really, as a kid, I was always in front of people and entertaining. I'm very tall. I'm 6'5". When I was born, I weighed 11 and a half pounds, and I was really tall. So I've always been like a big presence. And so, I got into entertainment actually early on. I created a comedy audience interactive show after I left Second City in Chicago. So that's how I started. That was in my 20s. And then I got into the business world through learning and development. And I became addicted to helping people grow and really helping them focus on a learning journey inside of a company. And I did that for many years, 15 years or so. And then went into startups and really got into how do you build a successful company, a successful startup, taking all those skills that I had. But I had always been into that human development side, that human component, the stuff that really makes life worth living, which is kind of that human essence that we have. And as technology has gotten bigger, we've kind of forgotten that. And so then I got into the technology space. I built a dating app that got about 300,000 users in less than 11 months. It was massive. And every company that I had built had massive growth. You mentioned one company had 1,600% growth when I was there. Another one, we had over almost a $500 million in contracts and business. It was just absolutely incredible. And again, what I've learned throughout that journey is the merging of technology and humanity. And like you saw in my TED Talk, I talk a lot about my experience with the dating and sort of social network app that I had and sold. And it was really, what I learned was that algorithmic work behind the scenes of technology was actually hurting our members. It was hurting our users of the app because it was isolating them. It was focusing on the wrong things. And so what we did with that technology is we put a piece in there we basically called it your story. And you could tell a little bit about yourself. We added this human element, this human component, and that's when our growth really started. So I think it's a good lesson. I mean, my journey, there's a lot more to that story, obviously, but that journey has led me to this place now where with Hive Interactive, we're all focused on, yes, technology is here, like AI, which we use all the time. And all of that is here. Technology is kind of abundant in our lives, but it will never replace those special aspects of being a human, community and empathy and connection and communication. So we work, and I have worked my whole career of merging those two. No matter what technology is doing, I always want to tap into the human spirit and the human element. And that's what we do now, and that's what I've always done.
That's a fantastic way to put it. And what a tale as old as time. Well, not really as old as time, because it's only starting to feel like AI is coming for us, coming for our jobs, coming for our lives,
Sure.
But it's always like, make the tool work for you, not the other way around. Like use it to our advantage to allow us to connect in a world where we have never been more connected before. We are actually experiencing an epidemic of loneliness. Todd, this is a little bit of a jab, but correct me if I'm mistaken. You are with Human Hive, and you created a dating app. By any chance, is this dating app called Bumble?
No, no, it was not called Bumble. No, that would be a great connection. No, that's not it, though.
That would be so funny.
Yeah,
I will just transition with that because I may or may not be on the app right now, on a dating app right now, Todd. But for your audience's listener out there, I would just like to also kind of point out, and I forgot where I watched this or I read this, but they said that these dating apps aren't designed for you to find partners. They are designed for them to keep you on the app longer.
Right.
And, the experience, of course, a personal experience or the secondhand experience of friends. And it's all very obvious that, you don't get to meet people nearby. They don't match you people somewhere close. So you keep using the apps. And this is such a great kind of way to relate back to what you said, in that these algorithms are actually separating us. These algorithms are actually not getting us more connected. So Todd, talk to us a little bit about that, and were the major things the very more significant major thing that you change or looking to change when it comes to merging together the human and the technological aspect. What do the audiences need to know?
Yeah, it's a great question. You're right about that around the algorithms. The algorithms are, when I had that company, we were focused on one thing that our investors cared about and that we cared about, and that was daily active user rate. So they call that the DAU in the tech world. And so all that means is if you have 300,000 users, we want as many of them in the app all the time as possible. And the reason you do that is because apps don't really make money off of their users. They make money off of marketing. So if I can't keep you in the app and using the technology, I can't then sell that to a marketer. And so what happens is it becomes incredibly impersonal. People are reduced to the number of minutes they're on your technology versus their humanity. And so that was something I was always uncomfortable with. And I'm glad that I was able to sell when I did and leave when I did, because I was growing more and more uncomfortable with the pressure of forcing humans into a scenario where they just became addicted to the app rather than getting excited about the human connection. So that always troubled me, and so I think I left that at the right time. But now when we talk about what Hive Interactive does, so we work in different sectors, and we can talk about those obviously, but everything we do, whether it's in trade show activation, marketing activation, team building, experiential learning, entertainment, whatever we're offering to our clients in every sector, we're doing it with two things in place. One, we obviously are modernized and we use AI when we can. We use technology quite a bit. But the most important part is that human connection. So that human element, we call it. And so everything we do, you'll notice it, even if you go to our website and look at it, you'll notice no matter what it is that we're offering our clients, the reason it works is because we're tapping into humanity, not just into the technology. So a lot of people are racing with AI to try to get as many people into AI, using AI and using technology. And oftentimes they don't even know what they're saying. They just feel like, oh, I want more people using my tech. Precisely. And they're forgetting that like you made a great point earlier, with all those apps and all the technology and all the artificial intelligence, people are not reporting that they feel more connected. They report that they feel less connected. And so we want to force that human connection and like rekindle that human connection. That's what we work on. And so I learned that lesson though, because most tech companies, I don't care if it's Twitter, which is now X, or if it's, LinkedIn, or if it's TikTok, they all have one goal: keep you engaged in what they're doing, not necessarily in what's best for you. So that's our focus, is the human component, the human element. Obviously, we're going to talk more about that, but you're right. I mean, those technologies, I think, and I'll just add this before you ask your next question. I see, and we see in our research with our clients and with the people that we talk to, that what's about to happen in our world is going to be a big change. And what it's going to mean is AI is going to take over a lot of the thinking work, and humans are going to start to crave a lot of the human connection. And so we are going to see a surge over the next, I think, 24 to 36 months that is going to include people trying to get reconnected for real, in real life, face to face. They're going to want, because we're all yearning for that. If there's somebody watching this right now that's sitting at home, maybe watching it on their Apple Vision Pro, and they're just sitting there like, this is so cool, I'm all alone in my apartment, but something inside of them is telling them they need humans to connect with. And that's what's going to shift. We're going to see a bigger shift than we've ever seen before. And so we're on the cusp of that. We're riding that wave, of course, and we're feeling really good about it. So I think the human element's going to be big here in the next few years.
That's wow! What a great way to put it, and what a great way to give us that optimism. I love how you put that. We are going to start craving more connection, more than we already have. If we're not already craving that too much right now, or very necessary, or like a very necessary connection right now. And
well, by the way, you already just to add to that, you already see this happening. Forbes came out with an article last year that talked about how young Gen Zers are wanting flip phones. They love the idea of the 90s. They like LPs and records versus digital media. Sometimes they want to break from their technology. They use the do not disturb button more than anyone else in their previous or in their generations ahead of them. So you're finding out that they're starting to feel it even faster. They're like, I'm burned out on all this tech. I'm burned out on being on my phone all the time. And so you just watch what they're doing and watch the sort of the craving across humanity. People are getting a little weary and a little tired around so much technology. Now, that being said, I'll just add this. We want that AI, though, to be able to do more for us. We'd like it to manage parts of our lives that are tedious so we can go over here and have an enjoyable human experience. So that's where I see the two converging in a really positive way. Sorry to add that. I just felt like that was kind of important.
Don't be. That's fantastic, because now I want to highlight that, because for a generation that literally grew up with smartphones, they could very well have been born with a smartphone in their hands out of their mother's womb, right? For a generation that was built on technology or grew up on technology, there's some sense of optimism knowing that they're feeling the brunt of the negative effects of being so much into technology, and there's an optimism for them. At least I feel optimistic that this generation feels that and wants to disconnect and wants to connect more. And I just love that. I love that information right there, which leads me to what we are about to talk about, which is the human element of this all. Now, I'm imagining like we're trying to get AI to work for us, to get us to connect more. But what are more tangible things that you guys are looking to do on this aspect? So first of all, we're talking about the human element, getting people to reconnect more. I'm imagining getting them into community places, getting them to go together on the gyms. But what is it that you guys are doing? What is Hive doing particular in this space?
Yeah, so Hive works in several sectors. So let me just kind of tell you what those are and then how we work in each one. So one is trade show and marketing activation. And what that basically means is our team of engagement professionals, we call them engagement specialists, they go in and they're in a trade show booth or they are in a marketing campaign, and their goal is engagement. So where everyone else there for the company that is our client, for example, Everyone at the company is just, they're doing what they do. They're doing sales, or they're running a marketing campaign, or they're doing, but our team is merged in with their team. The difference is our team is engaging people. Our team is going out and getting people and maybe running fun engagement like contests or trivia or activities or game shows or all these things that pull people in and get them out of what you might call their current mental state into a new mental state of connection.
Wow.
And the reason our clients like that, as you might imagine, is because it's also engaging their brand on a human level, which is really what people need in the business world when they're talking about their brand awareness. They want people to connect with their brand. They want people to believe in their brand, to feel it, to see it, to really connect. And that's what we do on the trade show and marketing side. So we build that connection. We do it in a very special way. I won't reveal that here, but we do it in a very special way. We only hire people who are engagement specialists, who are performers. They are team building experts. They are business professionals who have a sense of entertainment and connection. And so they're trained to do that. And they're all ages and all styles and all types. So it makes it even more powerful. So what we see in that space is the same thing. Audience engagement, customer engagement, all geared for the brand. That's in the trade show and marketing activation. Then we also do a lot with experiential learning. So team building, but it's based on gaming activities. So for example, we have a diversity program called Alien Diplomacy. And basically it's a room full of people. Every table represents a different planet. They all speak different languages, and they have to actually learn how to communicate given that they speak different languages. And so again, that's a fun environment, but all the mistakes they make in the game relate back to real life. So we just say, hey, here's what happened in the game. What does that mean in your business? But again, that's people moving and talking and engaging and interacting with each other, which brings out all of their, like, you know, some vulnerability, but also a lot of empathy and trust, and it builds community and it builds connection. So we do that with all of our experiential programs, whether that's the team building kind of game activities, or if it's more presentation skills, which, by the way, I think for anybody listening, if you don't know how to give great presentations, you're going to miss the boat in the future, because one way we're going to know if we can trust you and believe you is your ability to present and communicate. Because you can write anything now with AI and ChatGPT, Gemini, et cetera. These large language models will let you seem like you're very intelligent. Well, then how do we build trust? We build trust with our face-to-face or with our video communication, where we're actually having to present ideas. So we teach a presentation skills. We also do a lot with sales training and things like that. But again, all based on human components, human elements, the essence of what makes us unique. I did something a few months ago as like a thought experiment with our team. And I said, let's just ask ChatGPT what makes humans human. So what makes us human? And ChatGPT just basically said a few things. It said empathy, emotions, our ability to build community, our connectedness. It went through these things that were very tactile humanity. And I said, well, what about intelligence or creativity or these things? And ChatGPT came back and said, well, those aren't uniquely human. An AI can actually do those things. But what makes you uniquely human are the things that AI cannot do, which is real empathy, real emotion, real connection. And so we have leveraged that a lot. I speak about that a lot, that we have to ask ourselves what makes us human, and then how do we use the tools of technology to bring out that humanity and merge those two together. It's not one or the other. They have to be in unison. So that's what we do in those two sectors. Then our third sector is entertainment. We have an entertainment show that goes around the country. It's highly engaging. We don't let phones in the room when we're doing it. It's all about audience interaction. Companies use it as a branding, kind of marketing, fun, entertaining engagement. And so those performers go all over the country, and it's like improv and music and entertainment and engaging. And it's all done in a way that's fun, but we don't let anyone have their phones out. We actually have something called getting busted. So if you pull your phone out in that show, the entire show will stop and everyone will zero in on you and say, what are you doing? Why do you have your phone out? What's so important? And it's all done for fun, but it's all about pulling humanity back together. So that's what we do. In every facet of the business, there's one major piece, and that's how do I get humans to connect? How do I get them to be more human and more dialed into their humanity while teaching them how to use the tools? We also teach them how to use AI, how to use large language models, how to be super efficient and effective, but come over here now and build a community with us, or come over here now and build a team, or come over here and learn how to communicate better. That's how I see the future panning out for humanity.
That's wow. What again, Todd? You're giving us so much optimism, so to speak. Optimizing, AI, tech, and the human element, merging that together, optimizing that relationship, optimizing our relationship with each other, and giving us optimism for the future. Because Todd, I'm by no means an expert in the AI tech field. I am an enthusiast, but there's always this kind of like with many of the guests I've had that speaks about and talks about AI as well. There's this, you know, fear, and I always ask about that fear. But before I even get to ask you that question, Todd, you you've already given us some sort of sense of optimism in that you don't have to fear this tool, because there are leaders like you leading us into this space, allowing that kind of like, if you are scared of AI taking over your world, then it seems like Todd and Human Hive has the answer to that, to get people together and,
Yeah.
integrate that kind of like, again, integrate tech and the human element. Todd, I want to dive deep into more about that because you mentioned that a
Yeah.
lot. Talk to us a little bit about more that what you mean precisely by the human element. I know you've explained that previously, in a little bit more in your answers, but give us a bit more of an extensive deep dive into that. What is exactly this human element, and what we should be looking for?
Yeah, I think what we have to think about is this. So a lot of people, like you said, were born with technology. I mean, I have 4 kids. 3 of them are teenagers. One's very young, almost 2 years old. So
Mhm.
he will never know a world. My youngest will never know a world without artificial intelligence. Like
Yes.
my other children will never know a world without smartphone and internet technology.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
do remember a world without all that, as do some of my
Yes.
counterparts. So it's really great, a dynamic like that in a house, because you get to like see how these developments impact your kids and impact the
Yes.
future. But when you talk about the
Yes.
human element, to me, what it means
Mhm.
is it means being present with each other. It means being focused with each other. It
Wow.
means not
Wow.
rebuking or rejecting technology just
Wow.
because you're afraid of it. It means saying,
Yeah.
look, my tech is great. It helps me get my work done. It helps me get my life more efficient. It helps me plan things or organize or whatever I use it for. But
Mhm.
if I don't remember, or if I forget that the human component, the emotional aspect of being connected to others, the actual tactile experience of being in a
Mhm.
room with real people and having
Right.
real conversation, if
Right.
I forget that part, then it doesn't matter if I'm more efficient, because I'm not really enjoying life. I'm not really
Yeah.
enjoying the fullness of my experience. The people
Mhm.
I love to spend time with are people who love their tech, but they love to put it down just as much and get out and do something. Whether that's
Mhm.
going to have a drink on a Friday, or if it's going hiking, or whatever it is, they want to tap into the experiential part of life.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that's something it's easy to lose. It's easy to let the tech drive your life instead of using it as a tool. And so that human element is the emotional side. It's connecting. It's that feeling that I'm actually, in my body, breathing, connected to other people,
Mhm.
excited, passionate, positive. One of
Mhm.
the things smartphones have done to people, because they don't focus on the human element component, is it's kind of made
Mhm.
everything seem not very interesting. So
Right.
for
Exactly.
example, if a young person is, or anybody is on their phone looking at a drone flyover of Egypt, they go, wow, that's
Mhm.
cool. If they put on a VR headset, they go, wow, I feel like I'm here. That's neat. And then when they go out in the street and they don't see anything as exciting as that feeling, they're
Yes.
kind of like, this is dumb. This is boring. And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
because your brain doesn't really know the difference.
Mhm.
You got a VR headset on and you're like flying over Egypt in a drone. Your brain thinks you're doing that. So it doesn't know that you're
Yes.
not doing that. And so
Yes.
what that does, though, then on the human side, is it dulls our ability to really enjoy
Mhm.
each other, to really
Mhm.
enjoy life. We talk about this all the time at Hive, just around with our team, that, like, we need to do probably in the next year is have like hive, not detox retreats around technology, but rehab retreats, so that people learn how to integrate technology but not lose their human component, their human side. And so that, I think that's going to be a really critical piece for humanity, especially, and you know this because you probably talked to a lot of people around artificial intelligence, especially because what people are most afraid of is there is one thing that's going to happen. AI is going to eventually be smarter than all of us. Yes. And we as humans we've lost the value of being human unless it's defined as being intelligent, or how smart we are, how good we are at processing information. But now imagine when technology can do that better, and it will, and it can do that faster, and it can do that more efficiently, then we're going to have to turn over here and say, okay, wow, so that's not what makes me human. So I don't want to be depressed about this. What does make me human? Oh, well, that's me connecting and emotions and really feeling something in life, getting my hands on stuff. And so those two things we're going to have to be very conscious. The thing people are afraid of is, who am I without this intelligence? Yes. Who am I without being knowledgeable? Who am I when the guy next to me who's not very bright can pick up his phone, talk to Chat GPT, and knows everything that I know and more? Well, then what makes me unique at that point? And that's the real question. And that's what we hope to answer. Sorry, that was a long answer, but I feel like that's a critical thing to kind of focus on, is understanding those components.
I mean, if anything, that is the center of this conversation, right, Todd? Because what is it that we're losing every day? I love that you highlighted previously in that other answer of yours where you asked ChatGPT, even AI knows, I feel like, better than we do about what makes us human. AI, like, literally, it spelled it out for you. Like, no, I can be creative. I can write better than you. I can be smarter than you. I will take over your intelligence. But AI knew precisely what separates us from being human. And I love that you said, like, it's very common with the Gen Zs, right? They're very so uninterested. They're very like, what is this? Because they've been exposed to experiences that dulls their enjoyment. And I love that. That is, if anything, that is the center of our conversation. What is the human element, and what is the challenge really? The challenge is how to keep this, how to keep who we are. What are we without this AI? What makes us unique? Todd, this is very important, I feel like, and because it feels like it's a gargantuan effort, right? We talk about these algorithms, we talk about these corporations, we talk about, just our phones, right? It's all geared for us to stay on the device, to be on there. And like you said, I'm curious about what you said about that. It's not a technological detox; it's a technological rehab. But the effort seems much bigger, much more gargantuan when these corporations are designed and these algorithms are designed to keep us on their phones. Todd, how do you see you guys, Human Hive, overcoming this obstacle? How do you see us going into the future and, overcoming all of this? Is it, give us some optimism, so to speak.
Yeah, I think, well, again, we're doing it with our work, so if you come to a trade show or to an event where we have people, performers, engagement specialists, if you come to a team building or a training, you're going to feel it because, number one, you're not going to be on your tech. So you're going to be disengaged from that slightly. It's not like it's completely analog or completely non-technical. It's just that it's not the focus. It's an integration. Right. And so we're making you feel something. We're making you really experience something. And I think that's the piece that's missing. Is, how many people right now can't watch a movie at their home or a show without also scrolling on their phone? And when do they typically scroll? Well, studies show they typically scroll at an emotional or boring. So one of those two areas. If a movie or a show becomes super emotional or difficult to watch, they get on their phones and they're browsing TikTok or looking at Instagram or whatever their platform is. If it becomes boring even for a second, they're on their phones. Even if they're browsing X or they're looking at TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn, they're just not able, because of that addiction to like really not feeling anything. They want to get past any kind of difficult situation. So what we do is, and what we're proponents of is, let's get you experiencing things first just for fun. Let's just do something that's engaging, something that makes you remember something where you walk away. And like we always say in all three sectors of our business, we always talk about, what we want most of all is when someone leaves one of our shows, or they leave one of our team building or experiential learnings, or they leave one of the trade shows that we're working with a client on their booth. What do we want them to do? We want them to be telling a story about that experience. So our goal is always get them to tell stories, great stories. So for example, if you walk into a trade show booth, let's say it's Microsoft, and we have our people there, and they are engaging you, and they're doing like a game show thing, or they're doing something super interactive, and they're pulling a crowd of people into that booth to watch you win something, and then you win something really cool, and they get the crowd to applaud for you, and your friends are taking pictures. All that is happening in real life, but that participant is going to tell that story, certainly that night at dinner, probably when they get home, at their office, with their friends. They're going to go, man, look at this. Look what I did. This is so much fun, because they felt it. And so they're going to share that story. If you're in a team building or one of our experiential learning programs, or I just had one of our teams sent me some feedback from a client who went through our presentation skills. And she said, I could feel that I stepped into my personal power. That right there is a story she's going to tell everyone. So it's creating these stories. So I want you to leave whatever we do telling a story about your experience. And that's how you're tapping into your human element. Stories are what have always gotten us through humanity, regardless of technology. We've told stories ever since the beginning of time. We painted them on cave walls. We wrote them in books. We wrote them in magazines. We put them on the computer, on the internet. We talked about it on the phone. Like, stories are really what drive things. So we want people to have a human connection, feel it, really genuinely feel it, and then tell that story. So we're always asking ourselves, what kind of story are we giving them? And by the way, if your company doesn't hire us, or you're not able to see us or work with us, you can still take this back and say, hey, we're doing a trade show booth, or we're doing something with an event, or we're going to run a team building or leadership training. What's the story our team is going to walk away with? What's the story our customer is going to walk away with? Have them telling better stories. That's the human element in one statement. How do I feel it, and what stories am I telling about it? And that's what's going to create that feeling. And if you notice, people are so restless in society to feel anything that they're almost breaking down at times. They'll choose conflict. They'll choose actually going out and breaking stuff, and they'll choose, having really rough moments in their life, because at least it feels real, and they don't really know how to find the positive side. So again, what we always do is we leverage the tools of tech, and we find ways to bend those into an experience that tells a story. And so it's all about the human connection is telling stories and really feeling something. I mean, it's to the point where the other night we were watching the Super Bowl, and I plugged my phone in across the room and didn't touch it once during the Super Bowl. And so that was a huge discipline, took a lot of mental effort, but I had a much better experience, and I told a much better story about watching that game. And that's what I mean. You're really taking things in when you can take a break from the technology. And I think AI is going to be so efficient eventually that it's going to give us a lot of space, and we're going to have to figure out how to tap back into that human side. So I hope we can help with that.
Todd, what a fantastic way to answer that question. And first of all, what a great way to kind of wrap this up as well, because again, what do people, regardless if you, again, like you said, regardless if you work with Hive, you take in what you guys do, but the answer that you gave to my question was in general that what we can take into our lives as well, stories. How do we make these stories? We connect better. Because how common is it that people just pull up their phones and then, Instagram pics, make reels, but it's not really telling a story, right? It's just kind of like showing off. But if we are a lot more connected with each other, we can tell better stories. What a lovely way to kind of even, to kind of just put this all in a ribbon. And Todd, I'd like to give you this opportunity. where can we find you? How can we connect with you? Where are you most active? And, give us a bit more optimism for the future.
I will do that. Okay, so the best way to find me is, well, you can find our company, Hive Interactive. It's at ahumanhive.com, ahumanhive.com. And then you can also, if you want to get a hold of me on social media, probably the best, fastest way is going to be X, just at Todd Michem, or on LinkedIn, and it's at Todd Michem. So those, if you want to connect with me directly, those are probably the two most active places. I have a lot of fun on X because I'm always poking at people's humanity and trying to get them to tap into something greater. And then certainly on LinkedIn, we're always focused on, how do we get the business world to remember that humans matter most, and that humans are how we're going to actually get through the future. And so we're also, those are the two best, I think those are the two best places to find me. And then of course, ahumanhive.com is the best place to find us. And then as far as optimism for the future, so I say this all the time when I'm out speaking about AI and humanity and the human element. And the first thing I'll say is, look, if you don't disrupt yourself, someone or something else is, and you're not going to like it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
AI is a disruptive force, and you can either take it, learn the tools, whether that starts as just large language models like GPT or Gemini or whatever you choose to use, and you just start there and learn how to prompt and learn how to leverage it and maybe make it your therapist. I don't know. I've done that. It's kind of fun. But you use the tool as a tool. You talk to it like it's your friend. You talk to it like it's a colleague, and you make it kind of part of that experience. But then that's only the first piece. It will disrupt you if you don't take it and use it effectively and then go over here and disrupt yourself on a human level by getting connected to people, by getting out there. I do not think AI is going to wipe humanity out, or it's going to destroy us all, or take all of our jobs. I think what's going to happen is people who embrace it are going to take the jobs of the people who resist it. That's going to happen. We're already seeing that happen. I think it's going to change jobs. I think jobs are going to just kind of evolve and become more. I actually think we're going to see a lot more jobs that arrive that are in that area of human development. I think we're going to see industries rebooted around yoga and mindfulness and wellness and connecting and hiking trips and kayaking. I mean, people are just going to start to get more active with each other. And I think that's how it's really going to happen and what's really going to go on. And I think people are going to adjust by trying to find a way to tell a better story. That's always the best mechanism. Find a way to tell a better story. If that means going out and taking a walk with some friends, or it means going out on a date and actually having a rule that you put your phone away, even if they don't, you're still going to have a better story to tell. So that's how we can use those tools. I do suggest you learn them, and I suggest you learn who you are and ask that question, what makes me human for real? And then explore that. That's how I would approach it.
Fantastic. Todd, thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for this sense of optimism for the future, and that is AI technology is not so grim after all, and it will actually present us an opportunity to connect, fix our relationships, and actually, give us that chance in that room to finally find ourselves and maintain that human element. Todd, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for that concept, for that wisdom, for that insight. And we are looking forward to see what you guys are going to do and what the future holds for us.
Yeah,
For our
thank you.
listeners, make sure you check out Todd. Make sure you check out everything that we've talked about, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.